Okay, guys, so me and Matt have hopped on a Zoom, and to be totally honest, me and Matt was actually on a Zoom prior to this recording. We always speak to each other on obviously a daily basis, and we always share our problems, barriers, fears, emotions. I think we're very fortunate to have each other to bounce off on, during the good times and the bad times. And I think Matt will agree that he's come to me today with what he feels like is a problem. And whilst again I was going to talk through the processes that we both know and we both execute, but I think it's key that you have someone at these times in need to assist you. I thought, you know what, let's record this and help some other people, because I'm sure you all face problems from time to time. And if you currently feel like you're facing a problem, this is for you. Or again, save this for a future day. Yeah, we cool, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Right, so firstly, one thing that I would like to, I would like to identify to Matt and you guys listening is that I think if you're facing problems initially, it's often a good sign, as mad as that may well sound.
Yeah.
So for me, you're in either a place of growth. Something else that a term that I like to use is it shows me that you're having a go. Like sometimes in business or work, it can be that you're actually having a go, which is why you've come up against a problem. Or sometimes, just quickly, I'm going to refer back to some notes. Sometimes it is purely because you're in a place of consciousness.
Reality. What we also refer to it as, yeah.
Yeah. So I 100% guarantee, no matter what your problem, emotion, fear, or barrier, it's linked with one of them. It's because you're moving forwards. It's because you're growing as an individual, or it's because you're more conscious now and you see the problem, but you may well not have done prior to this situation. So first of all, I think, you know what, give yourself a pat on the back and understand that this problem is now ready to be addressed by yourself, and you're now ready for this problem, of which you wasn't in the past. So again, straight away, I feel like you come from a better place when understanding this, right?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Number one, for anyone that doesn't know, last year for me, 2019, I faced a lot of problems. Whether I created these problems, whether I deserved them, whether I was growing, whether I was more conscious, it's irrelevant, yeah? But like anyone else, me and Matt face our own problems. And 2019 taught me lessons.
I think it's just to add quickly, because I recall just recalling back to last year. You won't be embarrassed to admit that you was probably mentally, it's probably one of the worst you've suffered, right?
It's the weakest I have been by far. I can't say it was my worst year ever because I'm now so grateful.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say it was the lowest moment. I've never been so unhappy in my years on the planet. It wasn't a nice time, and there were times when I was particularly low. Whether you guys picked up on it, you knew. Again, nothing actually matters. But I certainly faced my fair share. And one thing that actually I got taught, and it's funny who provides these. This is actually my dad. So someone that I probably didn't listen to for around 30 years, or I chose to avoid his advice very regular. One thing he said to me, and it sticks in my mind, and again, I felt the need to tell Matt this during this, Like I said, we've not had this conversation yet, but first of all, it is put things down, sit yourself down, slow down, and look at what you feel is the problem. I remember, I recall my dad saying this. I didn't really want to hear it, but whenever I feel like I have a problem, fear, or barrier, I always do this now. A lot of my problems occurred for myself last year. I had reoccurring problems because I was constantly reacting to a problem, fear, or barrier, rather than taking my dad's advice of sitting down and looking at what I feel is the problem. Nothing that probably Matt's not heard of, not heard before, but I needed to get that ingrained in me, and I needed the lessons until I've actually executed now. So I think that's key. If you're currently facing a problem, sit back, think about the problem and look at the problem head on. Yeah. Second of all, this wasn't from my dad, but it's something that I feel like I've learned through hours and hours of listening and reading, is that understand, is this a problem or is it an emotion? Because I think you can easily get too mixed up. And one thing Matt taught me last year from his past and his education is that emotions simply pass, right? Always. So I'm not saying right now, if you're listening to this, I'm not saying you've got an emotion. It may be a problem, but identify it. Is it a problem or is it an emotion? If it's an emotion, again, stay firmly in your seat, ride it out, maybe interrupt your pattern, do something different by all means, but give it time and that emotion will pass. It's no different. You've all gone to bed on an emotion and woke up in a different state. We've all done it. I do it every night. I always think I'm hungry. You know, let's put it into small, simple terms. I wake up, I'm not hungry. Well, it was an emotion. I wasn't hungry. I was just being a greedy guts and thought I needed some sugar. Like, again, you may well vouch for me here. So I think that is key to understand problem or emotion. If it's emotion, we've let it pass. If it's an actual problem, I think it's key to identify the problem first of all. You must identify and narrow the problem down. Again, as I mentioned, you're ready for this problem and therefore look at it head on and begin to understand, interpret it and look at it from different angles. It's no different if you come up against a brick wall. Again, someone else that sticks out in my mind, a good client of mine, Mick, we often bounce thought processes to and from each other. And he often says about an analogy of a brick wall. Me as a young person, I try to walk through and run through brick walls. More often than not, I try to run. And therefore, of course, it's a lot harder. Sometimes I dented the wall. Eventually, I might have even got through it, but I would have had to run up to it probably 100 times. But I think he's always mentioned about, again, as my dad said, step back, but look at the problem, but not only head on, get uncomfortable and give it a little bit of come on then, but also step to the side and look at it from different angles and interpret it from different people's opinions. Interpret it from the person or the thing or the object that you're facing, and think about them as much as you. Think about other people that you respect in life and also think about how they may well interpret the problem and what they would do. So now I feel like we're getting closer to simply looking and seeing the problem. You may well even feel different now, but if you haven't done these tasks and you face problems, rather than moaning about them, rather than being a victim, I suggest that you take these processes because it will help you, trust me. It 100% helped me. So next of all, I've mentioned about identifying, just quickly, so I'm going to go to my notes because again, I have jotted some things down here today. Okay, yeah, massive one, Matt. Can you control the problem?
Go on. Go on. Yeah.
Again, I know for me in 2019, but just quickly, I'm not saying I've not had no problems in 2020 because I have, but big ones stand out for me, that I'm extremely grateful for 2019. Can I control the problems? Half the time, I couldn't control the problem. If you can't control the problem, stay firmly in your seat, look at it, and then, like, time will tell. Yeah, they say time's a good healer. I'm not saying things are going to go away. Your problem won't sometimes just twizzle round and turn away from you. But if you cannot control it, what is the point of doing what I used to do? I'll tell you what I used to do. I used to create a story 4, 5, 6 steps from where I currently was in present, which was 10 times worse than I was in present. And believe you me, the present situation wasn't particularly comfortable. So again, let me put this scenario in place. You've got a problem. You've identified it as a problem. You've looked at it from a few angles. You can't control it, but you're going to pretend the problem's got 10 times worse. So what is the benefit? Think about the logic in this. So if you cannot control it, again, take some time to sit back. I'm not saying I know the answer to all problems, and I'm not saying I know the answer if you can't control it. But what I would suggest is giving it some time, because you cannot, in my opinion, chase and overcome a problem and barrier or a fear that you simply cannot control. You know what? You don't deserve to. It's not yours to solve. So if you cannot control it, leave it alone for now. At least for at least temporarily.
Yeah, I think otherwise, just quickly to add, because otherwise, sometimes, well, a lot of the time, you end up acting on emotion, which can't, well, isn't always the right thing to do, because it can lead to an outcome which you may necessarily, well, not want ultimately. So
yeah, it's like, I'm going to give you an example, just a complete random example, but say person A is causing you a problem. If then you tell you, and you can't control A because you're not going to see him or her for a week, and there's no way of contacting them, it's pointless you telling yourself a story, and then when you do see them, you go with them with your emotion and say this, that, and the other. They may well turn around and say, I wasn't going to say that, I wasn't going to do that. Or you've almost put things, you've almost fast-tracked this story in your head, and it's not reality. Again, go back to number one, being conscious. Is it reality? Matt said, he started this conversation off. Is it reality? If it is, we need to still face it. Not a problem. The next thing, again, I would also suggest about being controlling, can you control it, can you not, is speak to someone. As I say, I'm very, very fortunate, and I'm not just saying this on camera, that I've got an ally such as Matt, who we speak to daily. I've also got 3 or 4 other allies, of which 2 I would say are my parents, to be quite honest with you, that I never really saw as allies some time ago, but now I do. And I can openly speak to these people. I don't think don't mistaken that for telling everyone your problem and offloading your energy, but know who you can go to. And I don't know about you, Matt, but often speaking is therapy for me.
Yeah, massively, which is something I think we all try and avoid at times, me included. You tell yourself you don't want to talk to anyone, you're going to deal with it yourself. And again, I'll vouch for myself that I do that a lot. But when you go on.
No, go on.
So when you do potentially, or you're going to act on emotion, having someone there to talk to, like for example, I have a problem. This is another situation example. I have a problem. I'm emotional. I'm going to act upon it. I have a phone call with Ben. My emotions change, and I've decided I'm not going to act on it because, referring back to what I said earlier, acting on emotion isn't always the right thing to do and can potentially lead to an outcome which you do not want. So talk about it, and I promise you it can change your thought process, and you can come out of a conversation having a different mentality and just a whole different thought process about the situation itself. So talk about it 100%.
To be honest with you, the reason why, again, I'm speaking from experience here, so I'm not too interested if anyone says I'm right or wrong, because I'm speaking from experience, which I like to share because I think it's a lot more real. But the reason that I didn't personally want to speak about things in the past to anyone is because it was uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable.
It makes it real as well.
Yeah. As soon as you tell someone, it makes it a lot. Reality hits. For me as well, it was ego. When I say I've got an ego, I like to feel like it's not, as much as I like me quiff, it's not all about vanity. all jokes aside, a lot of it is that I like to feel that I'm a little bit alpha. So around the house, live in my house, I like to be the one that takes the pressure, take the stress, give me your problems, come on. But I don't like admitting to someone that I need help. Yeah. And I think at times we all need to learn to do that. And when you learn to ask for help, you certainly improve, you grow, you come in, you meet new people, you overcome barriers. Yeah, you get to learn new experiences. So you can interpret this in a few ways. Another big, I've not even got this down. This has just come out of nowhere. Sometimes asking for help or admitting you need help, and choosing that therapy and that discussion and conversation with someone is massive. But do choose wisely, because just to give you another example, if I want an arm around my shoulder and somebody to tell me how unlucky I am and how bad the problem is, I know exactly who to go to. And so do you. You know, everyone watching this, if you want an arm around your shoulder and a pat on the back and a little tickle, you know who's going to listen to you and go, oh, really? Oh, isn't it bad? It's not what you need.
No.
What you need is someone who is conscious, can look at the problem, see the problem, maybe has faced the problem. It's no different to a transformation. We always say, ask somebody who has been on the journey, coach someone, done it themselves. So do choose who you speak to carefully. And if nothing else, choose someone who's a good listener.
Yeah.
Even if they cannot provide you not one bit of advice, it does not matter. Sometimes having someone there to listen is equally important. Would you agree, Matt?
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah. So I think what Ben's trying to get at there is, well, this is what my interpretation of it. I personally wouldn't want to go into a conversation with someone with a problem, discussing that problem, and come out of it feeling worse. I wouldn't want to do it. So yeah, having someone going, oh really, that is bad. Like, you want to surround yourself with positivity, and yeah, even if that is just someone who's going to listen to you, and they may not be able to advise you with what to do or how to address your problem, but come out of it feeling better as opposed to feeling worse, because it's not going to.
You want to get something constructive out of it, so do choose wisely. I'll give you an example, and again, for me, this is a nonsense example because it's not even worth talking about, really. But say you've got a problem with someone, which for me is not a problem. It's half the time it's an emotion, and it's probably you rather than them. But away from that, if you've got a problem with someone and you know who you can go to, who's going to go, yeah, they are like that, aren't they? Yeah, I heard he or she done it. You know what I'm saying now. You know who's going to just bubble it up, and if that's what you want to hear, great. But I'm telling you now, it's not going to help you. Yeah, it really will not help you. So having someone who's going to be constructive and someone who calls you out. Again, I got called out 2 or 3, 4, 5 times last year from people that I respect, which is why I could take it. But they called me out and just told me that certain things I was doing and saying and acting on was complete bullshit, basically. And sometimes I think you need to be called out. So yeah, definitely speak to someone, have therapy, be wise who you speak to, and listen. And if nothing else, talk. Get it off your chest. I think you hear it a lot in the media now about mental health and things, and about speak out. And the vibe is right. Definitely speak if you can. Yeah. And last of all, if by this point you're not already feeling better, I will be surprised. But if you are, you're probably in a position where you can. At this stage now, you're not reacting. Now you're in a different state of mind, massively, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You're somewhere completely different, having gone through these, I think, 7 steps we've mentioned. So, and then now if that problem is still there, first of all, now it's time to create a plan, which we know how to make plans. Like me and Matt always make, you call, yeah?
Oh, bit of light,
yeah. about making plans. Nothing changes, no matter whether the plan is to do with a workout, a problem, a financial, business, relationship. It always applies. It's got to be realistic. It's got to be sustainable. It's got to be specific. It's got to, it's got to have leverage to you. But yeah, then you can start to face the problem head on and create a proper plan for yourself. Like I say, this call wasn't for me to solve Matt's problem directly or anyone's problems directly. I think it's near on impossible to do that for anyone, and anyone that can vouch and informs you differently. I would be a bit wary, but I certainly feel by taking these 7 or 8 steps, if you're still in need of a plan, then you know you've got a problem. But at least then the plan is going to come from a better place. It's going to probably come from your head rather than your heart. That's what I would say. And by all means, you may well create that plan with somebody else if you want their input. But if you don't, I think it's a great place to go with yourself to create that plan. Would you agree, Matt? On them 7 steps, would you, anything to add, or would you say that would help you with your problem today? Not that we're going to go live with Matt's problem.
Yeah. I think one thing to address is, and again, I'm a sucker for this, is a lot of people when they're suffering from a problem or an emotional state is, you know what things are gonna benefit you. Tasks sometimes seem harder, simple tasks, but just try and do it. Just try and get through it. You may not be performing at your best, but you're doing something, and you're still intact with reality. You're still intact with life. If that makes sense. So, yeah, what I'm trying to say is, don't just shut yourself away completely. Make your way through it. It may be a slow process, but
just quickly, I'm going to make sure I get a clip of this for Matt, because one of Matt's, again, I'll call Matt out now, and a few people in Matt's life will understand this and they'll know this, and the people that know this are the ones that are closest to him. But Matt will always go inward, like many people. I'm very similar. Again, my parents used to say the same, but if they've not heard from him, meaning me, or I've not been round, I've not been my cheeky self, I've not gone round there to nick a bit of peanut butter out the cupboard or whatever else, clearing them out of house and home, something's up. So again, this goes back to the whole media-driven thing currently, where we say check in on people. Well, again, it's the same vibe, but even in yourself, as Matt's saying, this was actually going to be another video, Matt, that I actually jotted down today, as things are coming to me a lot recently. It's about, don't look for perfection every day. And I guess that's what Matt's saying. Just try and take some tiny steps forwards, even if they're minor. Act on going for a walk, act on listening to that podcast to put you in a different state, act on making that call, act on making a nice gesture, act on doing your gratitude, whatever it may well be, but act on 2 or 3 tiny things in your darkest days. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That ultimately is gonna nudge you through and put you in a better place. And yeah, going back to what I said and following on from what you've just said there, doing nothing, sitting in your room with the lights off, with the curtains closed, is not gonna benefit you whatsoever. So yeah, act upon trying to make yourself feel better. If that's doing 1 or 2 tasks a day, the sense of fulfillment you get, we've spoke about this on recent videos, when you set yourself a task or multiple tasks and you do them, the fulfillment, the self gratification you get is perfect to help you get out of an emotional state, or just change your outlook on things, most definitely.
So I think, again, and as much as Matt will go inverted, and he may well shut himself off, something that I was very prominent in doing, and again, these things probably may well be similar to yourself. I think it's key. I think that Matt sort of has half mentioned this, to identify some triggers or actions that you do in yourself, and know yourself because you may not even know you've got a problem. But if you know that you're doing 2 or 3 of these triggers or actions, you can actually say to yourself, oh, maybe I'm coming in towards a problem because I'm not doing X, Y, Z. For me, I would bury my head in the problem. I would avoid the problem. I wouldn't stop moving forwards. I would still try and progress in other areas, but I wouldn't want to look at it. Just don't let me look at the problem. I'll give you an example. Again, this isn't an example for myself, but I hear a lot of this as well. Like, again, it's out there in the media around debt, for example. People will avoid looking at their bank. They'll avoid looking at the credit going up. They'll avoid opening the letter. I've done that, actually. The letter thing's a big thing. Letters and answering the phone would be my avoidance. Don't want to look. I don't want to make that call based around the problems that I was facing. But for me, if I'm avoiding opening post, I give myself a bit of a slap. Like, I know it's coming. It's still, it can still occur. If I start living within a mess and my car gets messy, my room is messy, my office is messy, my head's messy, therefore, and I know I need to sort some shit out. So, again, I know my triggers. I've not conquered them. Loads to learn. Problems every day. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just trying to, hopefully, if it helps one or two of you get over small, hopefully, problems that you're facing, or even big ones if you happen to have big ones. But yeah, like I say, guys, I hope that maybe helps just a couple of you. Matt, anything to conclude, or you cool? You good?
No, I think I think you summarised there. Yeah.
So yeah, like, if you feel that this video, it's been a long video, guys, and obviously we've gone into quite a lot of detail and gone in quite deep. But if you're still listening and you feel that this could benefit anyone, or you just want to share this across your platforms, it'd be appreciated from us, guys, so we can, of course, share our message beyond just body transformations. We always look at things such as mindset, behaviour, habits. So I think to get the perfect looking aesthetic body, as well, outside as well as in, you've got to put these sorts of problems in certain boxes. You've got to understand yourself, because you won't get in the best physical health and well-being inside and out without knowing a lot of these processes that you can take on like a mental and emotional basis as well. Because without sounding cheesy, I do feel like there's a lot more to it than lifting up a weight, jumping up and down with a burpee and restricting your calories. Yeah, science tells you that's what works, and that is what works. Don't get me wrong. However, there is more to it. Yeah. When you look at consistency and habits and whatever else. So again, topics for other days there. But yeah, please do share, guys. Comment, tag anyone, and yeah, let us know your feedback based around this video.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we'll summarise there. Yeah, end it there.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Cheers. Take care.